That's right, music lovers, rejoice. When you hear that sound, you know it's time for the RUSS TOLMAN Good Time Hour. And I'm the aforementioned Russ, and welcome to the program. We got a big one going on today. We've got SID GRIFFIN of the RYDERS, who's going to be joining us for a little bit of an interview. And this right here is XTC.
Nigel, we only want what's best for him. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel just needs that helping hand. And if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy. He must be happy, he must be happy in his world. We're only making plans for Nigel. He has this future in a British steel. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel's whole future is as good as sealed. Yeah, and if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy, he must be happy, he must be happy in his world. Nigel is an outspoken man, he likes to speak and he loves to be spoken to. His world. Nigel is happy in his world. We're only making plans for Nigel. We only want what's best for him. We're only making plans for Nigel. Nigel just needs this helping hand. And if young Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy, he must be happy, he must be happy in his world. We're only making It's kinda cute. They bought the bullets and there's no one left to shoot. I hear your footsteps in the street. Won't be long before we meet. It's obvious. Just come in and come me out, and I'll be waiting for the show. Oblivious. I hear your footsteps in the street. Won't be long before we meet. It's obvious. Just come in and come me out, and I'll be waiting for the show.
Catch a bird and let it fly out the window into the night. You'll find out what it really means to wake up all alone. I used to wake up next to her. Now I feel just like that bird. You'll find me in the shadows. In the shadows I'll be found. Somebody's gonna split the world open. Someone's gonna be on top. Wake up bound and broken. World open, wide open. In a mansion like a tomb, he can still smell her perfume. He found out what it really means to wake up all alone. Now everybody's gonna have to pay when he rides his rocket ship away. You'll find me in the shadows. In the shadows I'll be found. Somebody's gonna split the world open. Someone's gonna be on top. Wake up bound and broken. World open, wide open. Everybody's gonna have to pay when he rides his rocket ship away. You'll find me in the shadows. In the shadows I'll be found.
Yes, indeed. That's Chuck Prophet from his brand new album called Wake the Dead. And that song was In the Shadows for Elon. And right before that, we heard Aztec Camera, who I saw live once in New York. And they sound nothing like the records because they were actually kind of a cool, kind of garagey band. And the records are very produced. And speaking of studios, I had the pleasure of spending an afternoon in the studio with XTC and hanging out with them. They played on the UC Davis campus back in the day after Drums and Wires. And then my friend Peter Fraser was calling him up on the telephone from the university telephones. And then he was over there in London for the summer. And I went over for a couple weeks. And we ended up going and visiting XTC at Townhouse Studios. And they were mixing the Black Sea. They were doing majors and generals that day, and we met Dave Gregory and who else? Oh, Colin Moulding, of course, who was kind of our host, and the drummer. I forget the drummer's name. Andy Partridge was off for the day recording with Yellow Magic Orchestra, and we even had a walkthrough by by Richard Branson himself. While we were sitting out in the waiting room waiting to go back to the studio, he came through. And Stevie Lillywhite and his Red Pants were producing the record, and he was very nice, as well was engineer Hugh Padgham. What a wonderful day. And I hooked back up with David Gregory, the guitar player, on Facebook, and he says, "Oh, yes, let me check my diary. Oh, yes, Russ, I remember that day." So, oh, hey, you know what that means? It means it's time for our interview with Mr. SID Griffin. Yay! We'd like to welcome to the program the mighty SID Griffin, calling from London, England. Hello, Sid.
Hi, Russ. I am indeed in London, England.
Yeah. And what time is it there? It doesn't matter because we don't even know what time it is here. So all we know is it's 8 hours difference.
It's William Blake time.
Well, there you go. Well, it's about 5:30 here when the show runs, so we're in the same time zone today. It's weird how things work. It's weird
Good.
So what's new? I know you have a new solo album coming out. It's coming out October 18th.
Yeah.
And I'll let you tell us the title.
The title of my new solo album, the first in 10 years, because I've been a busy boy, is The Journey from Grape to Raisin. And I had somebody ask me the other day in the promo run-up for this album, Russ, what does the journey from grape to raisin mean? And I thought, how can you not figure that out? We start out as plump, ripe grapes, and we're good-looking, and and we're juicy. And then we get old and wrinkly and tired, and we lose a lot of that juice, and we shrink, and we become raisins. So it's a sort of it's not as strictly speaking a life story, but it's close. There's vignettes from my life, chapters from my life. They're not in order. I don't start off as a baby and end as an old guy, but they're just slices of life, chapters of my life. The journey from grape to raisin.
Gotcha. And things you learn, like stay out of the sun.
Stay out of the sun. Says I'm trying to avoid all things that end in noma. So I learned to stay out of the sun when they started chopping off parts of my face. I don't have a song about skin cancer on the album, but maybe that'll be on the next one.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hey, I've had one, so maybe that's I'm writing a new one right now, so I'm gonna jump on it before you do.
What a grim subject, but it's true enough.
Yeah, well, at least it wasn't melanoma, so it's easy to deal with.
I'm very pleased with this record. I mean, you know well as an artist yourself, and many of your listeners, I'm sure, know it's tough to make a record come out anywhere near the way you want it to. You go in the studio and things just happen, some good, some bad. So this one, mostly good things happen, and I'm very pleased. I hope people like it. Like your own good self and so many of our friends and contemporaries, we make the art that we want to hear, and for self-expression. I'm not really looking at any kind of a marketplace acceptance. I would love that, but I'm really making records. In fact, that's the last song on the album. It's called "Why I Play Guitar." And it's literally that. Why do you play guitar, Sid Griffin? Well, listen to the last song on the album. It's a tune about me busking and me reflecting on a cold day busking in England 30 years ago. Why am I doing this? And I tell about it in the song.
Exactly. Was the answer to get girls?
No, it was so I don't go crazy.
Oh, okay.
One of the choruses, I play guitar when I'm happy, I play guitar when I'm sad, I play guitar when I'm blue, and for spare change, I'll play for you.
Oh, that's dang catchy. But speaking of marketplace, how would people here in the US of A get your new album?
Oh, Label 51, which has such notables as Steve Wynn's Dream Syndicate and the Rain Parade on it. It's available in the USA. Label 51 Recordings. It sounds like I'm on something that Edison invented the wax cylinder for, but the label is called Label 51 Recordings, and it's readily available. I mean, I don't mean just like Spotify and streaming or downloading. It's on all the Amazons and the Label 51 Recordings website. And I would assume hip record stores, if there are any left.
There are. They're around. I've seen them with my own my own eyes, my own bad eyesight. So it's label 51, not area 51.
Yeah, label 51. I don't know if there's a reference to Area 51 on it or not. And it's funny because the label's an American label, but they got a big branch in Poland. So it's funny. My record's out now, and it has in the back. It says made in,
I know
made
exactly why. It's the Bill Hine connection, is it not?
Oh yes, of course. That's it.
Yeah, Bill Hine, formerly of Enigma Records, for all you record geeks out there. He's running a pressing plant in Poland these days. And
well, that explains it. If he owns the pressing plant.
Yeah, I don't know if he owns it, but he's definitely managed. I assume he probably has some ownership in it. He's a crafty fellow, that Bill Hine.
He is. He was in this very room 48 hours ago. He was over doing something, and he came over for dinner. And it was interesting to talk to him because he's almost exactly my age. And although I didn't know him very well in L.A., I certainly knew him. And our lives they're very parallel how these things work. But then, generation is a powerful thing. I learned that when my father came over to visit in the 90s, and he met other people his age that knew the Great Depression and World War II, and it's like, boom, you have this instant connection. And now I'm finding out it's much the same thing from my own age group.
Green World Import Records and what else? Yeah, it's true.
So many people our age, my age, that tried to be in the arts and played in bands or tried to paint or tried to write a novel. There's just an immediate connection when I meet those kind of people. It's really the most incredible thing. I was a painter, I am a painter, or I was a novelist, or I am a musician, or I'm trying to be a musician still. It's just an incredible thing, generation.
Are you a painter?
No. I was just speaking. So many of my friends. I think now you're doing it as well, and it's just.
I'm doing a little bit just because my wife has a gallery, and actually, I kind of have a bit to do with it too. And we do a show every year called Sound and Vision, which features visual art by artists, by recording artists, and we had Joan Baez this last year as kind of the headliner, and a bunch of other folks that you know, like John Langford, and Chuck Prophet, Steve Wynn, and some other folks, other names you would know, and so we're doing it again in 2025, and I thought, gee, Sid paints, great, we'll get him.
No, it's my daughter paints, and that's why I always talk about, when I talk about the arts, I talk about painting. My daughter's I know your listeners care, but my daughter was an art major at the University of Brighton, and her stuff's been in galleries and displayed, and it's a very compelling thing. She's got the Griffin gene. She's got to express herself somehow, and she expresses herself through oils.
Wow, how old is Esther now?
She's 24, going on 47.
Oh, great! Oh, wonderful! What a wonderful thing that is.
She was talking man around.
Yeah, I was talking to Ian Matthews the other day, and he's 78, and he has a 19-year-old daughter, and I'm just going, geez, how does one handle that?
Wow.
Yeah, he has a 24 and a 19, and he's got a few years on us.
Yeah, he does. He's a good guy, though. I remember him very fondly from Los Angeles.
Yeah, in the Island Records days.
Yeah. He was a good guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a good guy to talk to. But we're talking to you now, SID Griffin. So the Long Riders have had a huge resurgence in the past few years. What's on the horizon for the Long Riders?
We go out in October for 3.5 weeks here not quite 3.5 weeks here in Europe. I'm looking forward to that. In fact, Greg Souders just called a little while ago and told me. I had said you got to get off the phone because Russ is probably calling in like 5 minutes or something. And Greg Souders of the Long Rider says hello to Russ. And so we're going out. I think we rehearse the 8th and 9th in Glasgow, and I think the first gig's the night of the 10th in Glasgow. And we end up in Stockholm October 26th, I think it is. And I'm looking forward to that a great deal. We have a very faithful following over here. It's pretty strong considering we didn't exist for 17 or 18 years. And since we've come back and we're trying to do something every 6 or 9 months. And so we've built up, which we have, so we've built up a nice following. So I'm looking forward to these dates. I think we start off with 9 in the UK, and then 11 on the continent of Europe. And I wish we'd come to the States, but so far we don't have a formal tour there. We keep doing Sirius XM events, but we haven't done a formal tour in some time.
I see. So your other band, the Cole Porters, are they still active?
Yeah, we're doing 5 dates in November because we haven't played in a while, about a year and something. Everyone wants to play again. It's hard being in 2 bands and writing books and trying to be a solo act. So the Cole Porters are the one I put on ice, but everyone about 4 or 5 months ago said, we want to play again. So we're doing 5 dates in November. And I just thought of something. I will be in the United States in March playing with Peter Case as Peter Case's opening act. So I will be in the United States, but I don't think the Long Riders will.
There
I hope the Long Riders will come, but I will.
So is that all over the States or just a region or?
Well, it'll be the West Coast and then east of the Mississippi. I'm afraid the people sort of Rocky Mountains east of the Mississippi River may not see us, but the rest.
I see. So Nebraska, not happening.
No, I don't think that the Omaha and Lincoln dates are going to happen.
The Wishbone and what was that, Lincoln? Yeah, what an interesting place that was. Good fried chicken, though.
Yeah, this is true.
So the Cole Porters, I have to thank you, Sid Griffin, because you had me on as an opener for the Cole Porters back in the late 90s. And I just happened on that tour to meet my future and current and almost 25 years wife, Kim. And so thank you.
You mentioned that's where you met Kim, and it's funny because the keyboard player of the early Cole Porters met his wife in Germany on a similar tour. I don't know if it was the exact one as you met Kim. And then we have an Uber fan named Nicola Westwood that's living over here, and she always shows up with a big, tall husband who's very shy and very quiet, and they always come to the gigs, and I'll see them every once in a while. They live up north, and they met at a Cole Porters gig. So life is good. I mean, Cole Porters shooting out vibes of like Cupid sending out his arrows. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're making the love connections there. Unbelievable.
I mean, 3 people that, met their better half and successfsuccessful marriages in each instance. I'm really pleased about that.
For me, sparks didn't fly until the next time I was there with my own band. But it was like at least a good hi, how are you? A good how do you do?
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I got the whole ball of wax that the Long Riders started that turned into me writing for magazines and the BBC and all this stuff that I've done living over here. The whole ball of wax is just incredible when I look back at it. I mean, most of my parents didn't want me to play any kind of music whatsoever. They were dead set against it. And when I look back, most every good thing in my life is because I played music. That's how I met my Rhiannon. That's how I'm sitting in this house. That's how I'm in this nice neighborhood. I bought a green screen thing, and we've been making videos today, me and my computer guy, and it's a lot of fun. It's like, okay, I'm not a big name or anything, but like your own good self, it's just so many blessings have come from making these records like this new one, The Journey from Grape to Raisin. I mean, I'll go out there promoting it, and I promise you, I'd say not every other night, but I'd say every third night when I go tour any given continent or place, there's someone shows up from the past. I'd say about every third night. Somebody you haven't thought of for a while or didn't know they were in Norway or didn't know they were in Florida. And it's just a blessing. It's absolutely a blessing. Keeps me in touch with everybody.
Hey, that's very good. So you've been in London a long time. How long have you been there?
32 years. And I thought I would be here. I thought I would be here 2, 3, maybe 5 at the most. But when you get married and you start having kids, that's why I've been here so long. I keep thinking, well, I'll go home, and then Trump popped up, and I can't go home to Kentucky because they'll all hang me when they find out what I believe in. So
there you go. Well, you were in Louisville recently, playing, I even saw.
I played a wonderful venue that they now want Peter Case and I to come do 2 nights in March of 2025 called the Monarch on Bardstown Road, the really uber hip part of Louisville. And it sold out, but let's face it, I bet I knew 40 people of the 80-something people of this little folk club by first name. And everybody, it was so great to see so many old friends and relatives there. And I mean, it just, and it's an irony of irony. It's the neighborhood where my mother grew up, which in the 30s and 40s was a beautiful neighborhood, fell on hard times. And then it turned around with sort of, low-income families could afford to go there, and they don't want a rough neighborhood, so they're fixing up all these battered homes. And the next thing you know, the yuppies move in, and it's a really great area now called the Monarch on Bardstown Road. And so much so, there are some people calling that part of town the new Austin, because it's just, I mean, you can't, it's just incredible. It's one Vietnamese restaurant, then, say, an art gallery, and then a vintage clothing store, and then a bespoke mom-and-pop coffee shop where they're all saying, we got the best coffee in town, and 4 doors down is another guy with a sign that says best coffee in town.
Nice. And
it's great because it used to be when I was growing up, it was a rough neighborhood, and it used to break my mother's heart, and now it couldn't be any more fashionable.
That's nice. That happens a lot in these cities, or at least it should.
Yeah. It's incredible.
First the artists move in, and people who can't afford anything else, and then it becomes cool, and then everybody moves. The people with money move in, and then everybody who moved there because it's cheap has to move out and find a new place.
Yeah, because the property values and rents have gone up so much. That's kind of the story of. It's slowly happening to the neighborhood I'm in now. It's just incredible. When I moved in to this London neighborhood, I consciously found this place that was full of artistes and all that stuff, and most of them have moved out because a lot of corporate people and wealthy Americans have moved into the blocks around my house. It was when we got here 15 years ago. There was rock bands around here, and Viv Albertine of the Slits lived up the street, and just all sorts of crazy people. What was the guy Pete Shelley from the Buzzcocks had a tiny, because he's really from Manchester. He had the late Pete Shelley. He was a good man. Right. He had a place walking distance from where I'm talking to you now, and it just all these people just have moved in. It's a completely different tenor to what it was when we moved in 15 years ago. And I'm telling you, Rhiannon, you watch. There'll be a Starbucks or something on the corner before a few more years. I mean, it's just.
I remember your neighborhood. I was there like 5 years ago. It's very nice. You live in a nice area, Sid. It's Are you a up and coming professional or what?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when we moved in, they still had squatters on this street.
Oh, wow.
And, where people broke in, and you can't, now you can throw them out. But in those days,
good.
Since then, Parliament's passed a law you can throw out squatters. But in those days, if they kept the place up and had nowhere else to go, and they paid the heating bills, they could stay in your house, which is crazy to Americans who are obsessed with capitalism and property rights. But now that's gone. But there were squatters here. There was even, just before we moved in, there was a crack house up north on the other side of the street here, famously a crack house, but that's gone. But then again, my son Noah, who I mentioned, he goes to a school that used to be rough, what they call a sinkhole school 25, 30 years ago, and now it's because it was a low-income neighborhood, all these people have moved in there that don't want to have a crummy neighborhood school, and the parents have taken charge, and it's now Noah goes to a great school. But when I tell the name of it to longtime Londoners, they go, "You sent him where?" But it's completely different now.
Wow. So,
but then things are different when you've been somewhere 32 years.
Yeah. Everything changes. So to switch gears a little bit, how many instruments do you play, Mr. Griffin?
When I go on stage, I always play guitar, banjo, and mandolin, and sometimes I play a little harmonica. But I think it gets a bit like a one-man band kind of stuff. So
do you have the bass drum?
The mandolin. You feel like a guy in the street going da 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 da, and the mandolin. I love playing. And the banjo. I don't know why. I should have taken up banjo as a kid because I took the clawhammer banjo, which is fairly difficult to do, like nobody's business. And it's not the bluegrass kind of banjo. It's the one you play with Pete Seeger plays the clawhammer style. It's more of a backup style for a singer-songwriter. And I love doing that. And, alas, at certain gigs when I pull out the banjo, jaws drop about to the floor So you got to be careful with a banjo.
Yeah, they're loud too. I noticed you even have a banjo endorsement.
Yes, I do. Isn't that wild?
It is.
Yeah, Grafton banjos made by a guy called Andy Banjo. I used to live. Many of your listeners obviously know the all-girl group, the Bangles, or female group. I shouldn't say girls because they're certainly women now. And I'm rarely jealous of my contemporaries, but one day all these free instruments came to the house, and they had so many free instruments thrown at them after a few hit records that I just couldn't believe it, for free. And they would open the case, sign the guitar, and send it to a Hard Rock Cafe, not even taking it out of the case and strumming a chord. And it's just mind-boggling. And so I thought one day somebody will give me a free instrument. And so far, the only free instrument I've gotten is a banjo.
I had my little brush with that when True West was touring with REM. Rickenbacker gave me a model that they wanted me to take out on stage, but I had to give it back at the end of the tour. They were going to cut me some sort of deal on it, but it was weird. It was black. It looked cool, and it kind of had a Ricky shape, but it was solid body, and it had like the equivalent of a P90, so it was not very Rickenbacker sounding. It sounded like a Les Paul Jr. or something. But they wanted to get it out in front of some audiences, and then they took it right back. And then when we were opening for REM at Irvine Meadows, the Rickenbacker guy comes and he kind of goes, "Oh, hi, Russ," and then spirits them off for their tour of the facility. It was like, where you are in the pecking order.
Yeah, you really do. I remember your listeners would love this one. The Nike, who you wouldn't think would really be desirous of any rock band's endorsement, Nike went through a thing where they wanted Tom Petty and et al. To wear their sneakers on stage. So they gave a representative came to the house and got the Bangles and got Joe Stella, Chris Lamson, and some of the crew. And like 8 people or 7 people that, got in the van with these 2 representatives of Nike and went to some warehouse, and the musicians of the Bangles and the 2 or 3 crew with Chris Lamson and Joe Stella got all these free shoes and free this and free that. And they came back, and I came in when they were just come home 10 minutes before me, and I said, "Man, I wish I'd have known. I'd love the free shoe." And they said, "Yeah, we didn't know your size." And I was so pissed off. I said, "Look, my size is on those smelly Converse. The Converse size is on the sole of the shoe. And all you had to do was go in my room and look at a shoe, and it would say size 10 or whatever it would say, and you could get me that." And they're, "Oh, yeah, we didn't think of that." That was a grim day for me. I could have had a free pair of Air Jordans.
There you go. I know. Wow. It's all those regrets that we have at a certain age.
All those petty regrets, and that's one of them. That might be petty regret 1A, top of the list.
There you go. So, we have chatted up nearly a half hour here. Oh, no, we haven't.
Right on, brother.
I'm wrong. My clock is off. So what do you want to talk about now?
Nothing I can think of.
I know what we need to do.
We talked about the album.
What we need to do is play something from the album. So if you could front announce a song, and we'll hear it, and then you'll back announce it.
Right now?
Yeah, why not?
Hey, everybody, you're listening to Sid Griffin on the Russ Tolman Fabuloso radio show. That's time well spent. This one's called The Last 10 Seconds of Life by me, Sid Griffin.
Driving home alone when a glow shot from my phone. Someone somewhere was calling me. I was at the wheel and I could not see. A deer stood in the road, his stance so big, so bold. I swerved hard right then rode on the shoulder sliding slow, guardrail on my right, the wheel in my hand so tight, turning towards my skid. I thought just as I did, this is the last 10 seconds of life. This is the last 10 seconds of life. What do people say about me when I'm long gone, my soul set free? This is the last 10 seconds of life. This is the last 10 seconds of life. What's the last thing I said to my wife when I left our bed? Did I tell my kids goodbye? And did they laugh or did they cry? Sliding toward an exit ramp, through darkness, rain, through cold and damp. Headlines blurred the angled dash, a white line stirred as I went past. I pumped my brakes, I heard my tires grab the asphalt. Was I a liar who told my friend I'd pay him soon? Who told my friends I'd be back by noon? This is the last 10 seconds of life. This is the last 10 seconds of life. Now, baby, when you hear this verse, know the night I left I cursed fate for not letting me watch my children grow up and worse. Me leaving you so soon, under this night, under this moon. You were the only girl I ever loved, a warm hand inside my glove, the only one meant for me, a warm hand inside my.
Hi, everybody. You're riffing with Griffin. I'm Sid Griffin. This is the RUSS TOLMAN Show, but you know that. And you just heard a song of mine off my new album. The new album is called The Journey from Grape to Raisin, and that song is called The Last 10 Seconds of Life.
Very good. We've got Sid Griffin here on the RUSS TOLMAN Good Time Hour, and we spent some time on the road together. Besides that tour that we already mentioned around Europe, the Long Riders and True West used to run into each other on great occasions out there in the middle of America. I remember one day and night in Oklahoma that it was a big party. Tulsa.
I remember. Isn't that funny how I remember that? I remember that well. And I've learned something from all these experiences. Like you say, Tulsa, and I jumped on the memory of it. I've learned that when you play a gig, your friends can understand that you forgot something, but when punters come up to you, when fans come up to you and say, "Do you remember Tulsa, Oklahoma?" you should say yes. They want you to remember it.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't want you to go, nah.
Exactly.
And the truth of the
thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that.
The truth of the matter is, I remember Tulsa, Oklahoma, because you guys were there, and I was hanging out with RUSS TOLMAN, right?
And I was behind the bar making my own drinks.
Making your own drinks. I remember that. I swear to God, I remember you going over the bar. And the thing is, I don't know if this is proper fodder for the RUSS TOLMAN Good Time Hour. I really remember things when friends show up, or when it was a horrible gig, or when it was really, really good. The rest of the gigs, I kind of people say, do you remember Cleveland in 1986? Do you remember Middlesbrough over here in England around 2004? You played the Crypt, which is an actual gig up there. And I've learned they want me to say yes. Because when you say, I don't know, not really, they get all hurt. But usually I just remember stuff like RUSS TOLMAN jumping over the bar. That made the evening unforgettable.
So we are running up against the clock now, and so What are we going to go out with? Tell us the song we're going to hear from your new album.
I think when I'm drinking, I think in Spanish because it's the theme of what you and I have just been talking about.
There you go. I like that.
I just played in Spain this past weekend, and that sounds very rock star. I just played in Spain this last weekend, but it's not a big deal.
Place.
And the food. When you live in London, it's easy to get down there. I was in Madrid, Santa Columba, not Colombo, Columba feminine,
right,
and then Bilbao. And I played two solo things, and then I opened. That's great. Bilbao is heavenly. Then I opened in Bilbao for an Aussie band called the Stems, who, to be perfectly frank, were terrific. I mean, I have heard the Stems records, and they were terrific live. Terrific guys, but just what a band. And so three dates, and I'm home and making videos. And what can I say? I'm happy.
There you go. Well, that's proof positive. We'd like to thank Mr. SID GRIFFIN of the Long Riders, of the Cole Porters, and with the new album, The Journey from Grape to Raisin, for being here on the RUSS TOLMAN Good Time Hour. Tell us the name of that song again, Sid.
When I'm drinking, I think in Spanish. I think your listeners would love it.
Okay, here we go.
See, they're applauding already.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
When I'm drinking, I think in Spanish. When I'm loving, I think in French. When I'm leaving, I'm thinking on East Coast time and how all my money was spent. I used to live a straight-laced life, like a willow wind never bent. A stiff upper lip and a glass of wine, I never knew where my time went. Fame met fortune in Omaha when I met Anne-Marie. Then she met Lester in Wichita, where the loving about killed me. Anne-Marie fled to Arkansas while I watched cable TV. 24 hours most every day, and now I can hardly see. Reverend Ike sold them condos in Florida by the sea. Lester bought two with my dough, which he took from Anne-Marie. When I'm drinking, I think in Spanish. When I'm loving, I think in French. When I'm leaving, I'm thinking on East Coast time and how all my money was spent. I'm traveling to get my money back from Lester, his lawyer, or she who took my broken heart and charged repair of it to me. I'm drinking on overtime, hoping to leave Dixie, to start again with a brand new friend in either Boston or NYC. When I'm drinking, I think in Spanish. When I'm loving, I think in French. When I'm leaving, I'm thinking on East Coast time and how all my money was spent. The moral of this story, the moral behind this song, the modus operandi of this here guy is for every right there's a wrong. For every love has an Anne-Marie, there's sometimes a Lester too. If I'm a fool, then I'm God's fool, but you shouldn't have to be one too. When I'm drinking, I think in Spanish. When I'm loving, I think in French. When I'm leaving, I'm thinking on East Coast time, and now all my money's been spent. When I'm leaving, I'm thinking on East Coast time and how all my money was spent. Yodelay, yo, yodelay,
It's the time and the place, every line on your face. It's the truth and the lie. It's to live and to die. Oh, what a beautiful world. It's a girl and a boy, and the first taste of joy. It's an old photograph of two hearts torn in half. Oh, what a beautiful world. We build our hopes up high, perchance to someday fly across a clear blue sky to someplace new. It's a walk in the park, or a shot in the dark. It's the thief in the night, or the first ray of light. Oh, what a beautiful world. Up and lost and found, become that highway sound and roll on through. It's the rise and the fall of the clocks on the wall. It's the first and the last of your days flying past. Oh, what a beautiful world. Oh, what a beautiful world.
Song now about my hometown.
today. Here I am walking down 66. She hadn't done me this way. Sleeping under a table in a roadside park. A man could wake up dead, but it sure seemed warmer than it did sleeping in my king-size bed. Is anybody going to San Antone or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I can forget I'd never known her. Wind whipping down the neck of my shirt like I ain't got nothing on. But I'd rather fight the wind and rain than what I was fighting at home. Is anybody going to San Antone or Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I never known her. Woo-ha! Yonder goes a truck with the U.S. mail, the people writing letters back home. Well, tomorrow she'll want me back again, and I'll be just as gone. Is anybody going to San Antone? Phoenix, Arizona? Any place is alright as long as I forget I've never known you. Any place is alright as long as I forget I've never known you.
That's right. That there is Mr. Doug Sahm. And is anybody going to San Antone? For that, we heard Rodney Crowell. What a Beautiful World. And we started off the set with SID GRIFFIN from his brand new one, and that was called When I'm Drinking, I Think in Spanish. And thank you for Mr. Shed for being on the program today on the Good Time Hour. And it would not be a RUSS TOLMAN Good Time Hour without some RUSS TOLMAN music. So take it away, Maestro. We'll see you next week. This is Take It Easy, Take It Slow.
We're all gonna go down past the rodeo on our way to our just rewards. Don't wait for me, I'm in no hurry. Don't save me a place in line. I'll be waiting here. Order up a beer and join me for a while. Time goes by fast enough. We don't need to give it a shove. We don't need to give it a shove. Take it easy, take it slow. I'm in no hurry to go. Take it easy and take it slow. Old Methuselah really had it down. That man knew how to hang around. 969 sounds awfully fine. Let's hope old Methuselah didn't get bored. Take it easy, take it slow. I'm in no hurry to go. Take it easy and take it slow. And if you ever find the time to put yours together